This meeting is now being recorded.
All right,
Screen's going to pop up in a few minutes.
so a couple announcements. As you heard and hopefully saw in the WWC update, Vu, our data manager, has taken another position at CDPHE. So Kristen, for WWC, Kristen will be our interim data manager until we get another data manager hired. So in the meantime, for WWC eCaST questions, start with Nick, and Nick will triage you. He will either answer your question or he will triage you to someone else to answer it. The other thing is that we posted the next round of care coordination RFA. That is posted on our website under the WWC funding tab. We encourage you all to look at it. If you are funded already through care coordination, you do not need to reapply. Everybody else, go look at it. We are not allowed to answer questions or talk to you about it. So there is in the RFA the process for asking questions and submitting questions. And we're trying to get the screen share up. It's taking a minute.
Make sure you star 6 to yourself and mute the background noise.
And again, on the chat, use your agency. We don't want to know your name because we can see your name. We need your agency and what contract you work on, whether it's WWC Clinical Services, Care Coordination, or Wise Woman. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, you guys can open up the slides.
Hi all, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty pulling up the slides, so it's just going to be a minute as we work around. So just hold on for a second. Thank you for continuing to do attendance via the chat function. And we'll let you know we're trying to pull it up on a different computer.
of these local commercials. There's a local commercial, and Darren is it's this silly commercial about Wildwood, you know, and they have all these employees. And it was funny because the first time I saw like they showed us the
Hi all, just one more minute. We had to get a different computer to pull up the information in the presentation, so just be a second, just a minute. All right. Hopefully you all can see these slides because we can see them. So we're going to get started. Thank you. Sorry for the delay on a little last-minute technical problems. So as Ivy said, this is the HIT call about fiscal year 2015 closeout for both WWC and Wise Women. So we're going to talk about data entry deadline, tips for maximizing reimbursement, end-of-year grant fund change letters, accounts payable letters, submitting FY 2015 invoices, and some other reminders.
So this is Kristen Lara. Again, I'm the interim data manager for the Women's Wellness Connection. As kind of a reminder, today we're going to cover WWC Clinical Services, Care Coordination, and Wise Women when those are the same activity to simplify things for you. So you'll need to complete your data entry for the current fiscal year by July 30th. And you see the dates on your screen there. So we've kind of clarified what the fiscal year is. It's roughly July through June each year. And so that means you'll have about 30 days to finalize all your data entry. We'll create your final grant activity statement out of eCaST on Friday, July 31st. And there will be no fiscal year 2016, I should say, July grant activity statement. So you won't see a fiscal year 2016 statement in the middle of July. Instead, just be looking for the final FY 2015 statement on July 31st. We're going to go through a few tips really quickly for maximizing reimbursement. So things that you'll want to do over the next month to a month and a half. again, before July 30th, in order to make sure that you're getting the maximum amount of reimbursement possible. There was a end-of-year guidance document that was put in Wednesday's WWC Weekly Update email, and I believe that it will also be in the Wise Woman one in the following week. So it goes through all these things in detail and gives examples and explanations. So we're going to go through them really briefly here on this call, but please do open up that email and pull up that guidance document for details. Oh, and it'll go out tomorrow. So first and foremost, you'll just want to make sure to be reviewing all of your screening errors and make sure that as many as possible are cleared and resolved. Many of you are already doing this. I know you've been in contact with Nick over the last couple of weeks about clearing all the errors that are on your home page in eCaST. Here's some specific recommendations for things to look out for that might be a little confusing through this fiscal year crossover period between June and July. So first, we want you to review and close cervical cases with pending screenings. We'll try to automatically do this for you on July 1st, and that means that if you have any additional ones that are in eCaST for fairly old cases, there's something going on where eCaST won't auto-close it. So the client has symptoms marked or doesn't have a routine mammogram marked, something like that. So those are ones where if you're not sure why it's not closing out, you want to review it and you want to get in touch with Nick about it. We also want you to review your screening case management report and close all cases where the loss to follow-up policy is met, even if you haven't given up on the client quite yet. And what that means is if you've made 3 contact attempts, including a certified letter, you're still somewhat hopeful she might come in, go ahead and close it out as loss to follow-up with a closure date in June so that it gets reimbursed out of your FY15 funds. And if the client happens to come in, you're more than welcome to reopen that case, add additional procedures performed in the next fiscal year, and we'll reimburse you for those as well. So just go ahead and close your cases where you've made those 3 contacts, including a certified letter. And then finally, the following cases, as a reminder, are payable, and we want to make sure you've remembered to enter them into eCaST. So short-term follow-up is payable in eCaST on top of the original payment that you received for the client. Clients returning with new symptoms can be reimbursed a separate time. We do reimburse for MRIs, ductograms, and second breast or cervical biopsies. So please do make sure those are entered into eCaST and contact Angie Fellows Lemire if you have questions about individual procedure approval. And then I'm going to turn it over to Steve Bromby, who's the data manager for Wise Woman, to go over a few other tips for YWell.
So this is Steven. Things to make sure of for Wise Woman are just to maximize your reimbursement, just to make sure you get everyone in there that has had a BP date, cholesterol, glucose test completed in this fiscal year in eCaST. So those are all those errors that are showing up as 3 tests have not been performed yet. Also be sure to look at, review those cases that have alert values to make sure the workup has been done, because that also appears as an error flag. The biggest thing for us, for Wise Woman, for the closeout, is not so much to focus on those that are lost to follow-up or closing out the case, because we pay you regardless if the case is closed or not. So I want you to focus rather on fixing those errors. If you have any questions, you can contact me directly about them, but you should be able to fill in the missing tests and or the risk reduction counseling. If that's not completed, that's a big one that happens a lot, and then the alert values. So those 3 things are the ones to focus on. It is also possible to get reimbursement for those that are lost to follow-up that have had 3 tests. I have not had anyone approach me for approval on those, but Michelle may have. I haven't seen any yet. So the deal with that is you would have had someone come in and had their initial health assessment. You would have also had your 3 tests done, You just may not have completed your risk reduction counseling. If that is the case, it is still possible to get a W-1, but you would need to have those approved through us and marked as lost follow-up.
One final reminder, this is Kristen again, that I forgot to mention earlier is while the data entry deadline is July 30th, as you're reviewing your errors, it's incredibly helpful if you can reach out to Nick or Steve about your errors list or your questions by July 15th to give us enough time across all 45 contractors to get back to you and to thoroughly review your questions and concerns. So July 30th is the deadline for data entry, but July 15th is a really helpful date to keep in mind for getting maybe a list of questions over to Nick or to Steve.
And I want to thank the folks that have already sent lists along this week. It's incredibly helpful to get this started earlier than later, so thank you for getting on top of that so soon.
Okay, so end of year grant fund change letters. So you may or may not remember, especially for WWC, that last year we combined grant fund change letters. We did one that both closed out FY15 and added funds for FY16. That all happened in August. We are doing it differently this year. You're getting 2 rounds of grant fund change letters. So last HIT call we talked about that in August, or soon, probably any day now, you'll be getting grant fund change letters to add your fiscal year 2016 funding. But we will also be doing grant fund change letters in August to close out your FY15, 2015 funding. So this will happen for all WWC clinical services, care coordination, and WISE women. Now, some WISE women and care coordination, your contracts overall were small enough to be purchase orders, so those actually will end up looking like a purchase order amendment rather than a grant fund change letter, but I think of them the same. Nothing's really changing. It's just adding or taking back money. So these grant fund change letters or purchase order amendments will run our final grant activity statement, as Kristen said, on July 31st. And then after that, we will compare that to what your budget was. If you ran out of funds and you have pending cases to be paid, we will add funding to your FY15 contract in order to pay those cases, which means keep screening. Even if you are coming close or have run out of funding, we will have funds to move to you in August for all of those contracts. If you were not able to spend out your funds, we will be taking back anything that's unspent after the final bill run. And for a few agencies, we will be doing some, really some net zero, well, it might not be net zero, but there might be some changes between state and federal funds in order to maximize our federal spending on clinical services. So look for those. So the final payment, obviously we have to get those executed before we can pay you. So the final payment for fiscal year 2015 will come late August, early September. So basically the timeline is clinical services end at the end of June, then you take a month, you enter the data, then July 31st we run the grant fund change letter, we run the final bill, then in the beginning of August, we do the grant fund change letters and purchase order modifications to true up FY15, and then you get paid. So again, there will be there's no July 15th bill run for anything. It doesn't close out for FY15 or for FY16. The only thing that happens is July 31st. And then the first bill run for FY16 is in August. Crystal.
Yes. Hello, this is Crystal, and I want to talk about the accounts payable letters, the AP letters that I sent out to everyone for the one-time payments. If you have not turned one in to me, will you please make sure that you do that no later than June 22nd? That's really critical because the amount that you give to me, we use those as actual figures, so when you close the books, I make sure that I hold those funds for you. If for any reason you don't get me back that letter or you underestimate your funds, we will still pay you, but it may come out of FY16 monies.
And just a reminder, that is not for WWC Clinical Services, Care Coordination, or Wise Women. It's for your one-time funding, targeted outreach, or if you happen to have some other strange contract with us.
Right. If anything in eCaST, I don't need to have reported.
Yeah. So on that note, we would also like to pay you. Not only would we like to know what we're going to pay you, we would actually like to pay you. So for Wise Women, submit your invoices for startup costs, if not previously submitted. So you all should have gotten an email about that this week. If you had any travel to motivational interviewing training, either the one we provided or another one, we would be glad to reimburse you for that. So please contact me about submitting an invoice for that. For the care coordination program, again, the startup costs, if not previously submitted, I think everybody got emails. Anybody who is outstanding on those got emails this week about that as well. And then the one-time funding, we need your invoices. And then if you've spent all your funds, once you've spent your funds, we also need a final report. Basically, you just report what you've done with your funds and how it's helped you. And so those really tie together. Once you've finalized your payment, or once that's final, we'll kind of track down that report before we'll submit your invoice for payment. And I think you technically, for the one time, I think you technically have 45 days? You have some time.
You do have 45 days after. However, in the emails that I sent out to everyone, I explained if you can get your invoice to me by July 6th, that way I can guarantee that I can get you paid within a few weeks. Due to our new financial system, we don't exactly know how it is going to close out our books, so we're kind of anticipating the worst. If you get it to me after July 6th, it could be up to 8 to 10 weeks that you can get payment. So if you need your payment right away, please get that to me by July 6th.
The sooner the better on all these invoices. Same thing, I know this isn't really targeted outreach programs, but if you're online, same thing, get your invoices in. So just some other closeout reminders as we're finishing up the year. The attendance requirement for WWC Clinical Services. So remember to make up HIT calls. You are required to attend 50% of HIT calls, so make those up and email Chris or Ivy to let them know you've done it. Those are posted on our website, easy to review. eCaST users groups, 50% attendance at those. Make those up and email. Who do they email on that one? Nick or Chris and Ivy? Chris and Ivy on that one too. Clinical webinars, I think most of you were able to attend a roadshow, which counted as your clinical webinar, and I think the ones who didn't got an email, but if you need to do that, please do. So make up your attendance. I wrote July 30th, but I think I meant June 30th. I think I was tired. I think I messed up all the dates in this slideshow today, which is not like me. Wise Women, motivational interviewing training. So thank you to everybody who came to the training on the 29th. As a reminder, all health coaches for Wise Women are required to attend intermediate or advanced motivational interviewing training annually. So if you attended the May 29th training, we've got that down, but if you attended another training and you haven't submitted your documentation, please submit that documentation, like your certificate or whatever, so we know that you attended. And otherwise, we'll be starting to track down those who we don't have documentation for.
All right, this is Sarah, and we have a new calendar on our website, and we just wanted to alert you.
Do you want me to click on this link?
Sure, yeah. So it's color-coded, and WWC is in purple, and Wise Women is in aqua color. And let's see.
I'm working on scrolling down. Sorry.
And so you are actually able to see us or updates in real time now, so rather than updating every couple weeks. So if you want to add these things to your calendar, you can click on a specific event, and then you can copy to your calendar right here. So that should make it hopefully a little easier for you.
And you'll have all the call-in information and details.
All the deadlines and everything for any SurveyMonkey or anything is going to be posted on here. When CDPHE is closed and who to contact to those dates. So.
Is it a link from Provider Resources?
Yep, and it's on Provider Resources from both WWC and Wise Woman web pages.
Go to the agenda when
It's the top thing. What did you want, Emily?
I said if you go to the calendar and you click on the agenda.
Oh yeah, I see the scroll down.
Like if you're like, I'm just Wise Woman, I don't care about these WWC dates, you can go here, click on the arrow down, and just opt or deselect and get just the Wise Woman dates.
So so it's this down arrow, it's not actually on the agenda button.
Oh, it's the down. I don't know what it is.
I
Anyway, look, we're being efficient and lean. So if you're ever like, what's the call-in information? When's the HIT call? This is your thing. There will no longer be the PDF calendar. This will be it. We're saving ourselves time updating the PDF calendar every time something changes. So I think that's it for today. Any questions about any of that stuff? We covered a lot. Any questions about anything that we covered today?
Yes, I have a question. This is Evie.
Sure, Evie.
Who is the person that was talking about a letter that she needs back June 22nd? I missed her name.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Crystal Banks Thomas, the fiscal officer for Wise Women and WWC.
Okay, and does that letter apply to the one-time grant? Is one-time funding the same as the one-time grant?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'll go back and read that. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you have any questions, you can always contact me or email me, and I'll get back to you right away.
Hi, this is Becky from High Plains. I have a question for you. I just barely got the end part of what you guys were saying about you're not going to do a PDF with the schedule of the meetings anymore. Where can you find those again?
They are going to be on our website. There is a link to a Google Calendar. So it's from the Provider Resources page of either WWC or Wise Women, and it's a Google Calendar. You can print that calendar if you like a hard copy. Did you click on the link, Kristen? It's it'll show Wise Women and WWC separately in different colors.
Okay.
Are you able to see the PowerPoint that we have up?
No, actually, I was just finishing up with the patient. I was just trying to listen.
Oh, she's showing you. She's showing you. Well, we'll send out the slides and you can see it and the link's there. Yeah, so you can just bookmark that and always be up to date. And we'll, of course, in our updates and stuff say if a date changed or when but just it'll track it all in one place for you.
Awesome.
If you can't remember when that survey was due or when we'll add the AP letters.
All right, thank you.
Other questions?
Hi, this is Dana at Marowak.
Hi.
Hi, I just wanted to confirm something from the beginning. It was said that if you're already a care coordination grant program, if you're already in that program, you do not need to reapply for this?
Yes, that
for
is correct.
FY16? Okay.
Correct. The RFA is for new contractors who are not doing it.
Great.
So care coordination, any day now you'll get notice of your funding. We already asked you. You're in multi-year contracts, so we're just giving you more funding.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for checking. Anybody else?
Yeah, this is Jerry. And
Hi, Jerry.
To go back and to make up some of the hit calls, where do I go to do that?
So that is on the website, which I think Kristen's trying to go to, under Provider Resources. And then it's Training and Technical Assistance. We're showing you along.
Looking at it, okay.
And then it is, if you go down, under Training, Health Improvement Team monthly calls. See there, that link? And then the users group is there as well. And it links you to something where it has the calls for each year, and you can go in and go by month.
Good deal. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question.
Are they also posted on the YouTube site? So, Jerry, there is a YouTube channel. It's on a lot of our signatures if you want to dig through an old email from us, too. Sometimes it's easier to watch these videos on YouTube than it is through these folders. So you could, if you find that YouTube link, or we can email it to you, you could just search HIT, and you'll see the list of them there too.
Yeah, if you can email me that would be great.
Okay, I will do that.
Crystal, there was a question on chat. When was the one-time funding AP letter and information sent out, and to who was it sent?
I can definitely find that out for you. I wouldn't know that off the top of my head.
So Darlene's from Teller County. If you did not get it, email Crystal, and she can send it to you again.
Yeah, because it might have just been sent to someone else in your agency.
You may have sent it to your fiscal coordinator or something like that. So can you type Crystal's email? It's on the slide. Crystal, KRYSTEL .banks, BANKS @state.co.us. And then Stacia, if you can email your program coordinator, so probably Chris, to find out if there are calls you haven't attended. She will know your update. All right, other questions?
This is Ashley from Planned Parenthood.
Hi, yeah.
And I was just wondering, is there a specific format that we need to follow for the final report for the one-time grant funding?
Yeah, there's a form, and we will email it to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ellen.
So the question is, I have several errors in eCaST due to our clients not completing their mammogram yet. Their appointment is scheduled but won't be done in time before the end of the year. What do I do with these? That's a great question. So that went to the comment at the very beginning about closing all pending cases. So any eCaST cases where it says pending, pending screenings not complete. We will try to auto-close all of those on July 1. That means that this one would be automatically closed for you, and it'll get set to a B1. So long as you've listed the mammogram reason as routine screening mammogram, and you don't have breast symptoms marked, the CBE is a normal result, all things that would indicate this is just a normal routine CBE and we're waiting for a routine mammogram. It'll be auto-closed. If after July 1 you still see things listed under pending screenings not complete, it means you need to manually review those. And then go ahead and close them if it seems appropriate. You're always more than welcome to reopen a case if a lady has a mammogram in July or August or September. You're more than welcome to go back into that original screening where it had that CBE from May or June and add the mammogram there, and it'll just give you the adjustment in FY2016. So it's as simple as closing them out now and then adding additional procedures once you get to FY16. Do you have any other comments?
The kind of question I'm getting is on the CCGP where a mammogram is required. We do have the lag time over the fiscal year turnover. What's our guidance in regard to that?
So for CCGP, so care coordination specifically, and if you don't have the care coordination grant, turn your ears off for a minute because this may be confusing. For the care coordination grant, that patient navigation level 7 is not reimbursable until you've entered a mammogram for breast cancer screening. So you have a lot of cases that probably say CCGP won't reimburse for this until you've entered a mammogram. And I think that's a good question. So for those, I would leave them as is because they're not payable in the current fiscal year until the mammogram is added, either in, Make sure if the service was provided in June, you've entered it by July 30th. If the service is provided in FY16, so sometime in July or later, go ahead and add that, and we always pay based on the last procedure date in eCaST, which means that complete case would be reimbursed out of your FY 2016 funds instead of FY 2015. So we're not trying to make up information or cheat the system. We're just trying to maximize your reimbursement in FY15 before we get to FY16. So that means closing all the cases that are possible in FY15, those that aren't, and the care coordination breast screenings would count as they're not payable yet. You would just wait on those until July or August when that client has her mammogram.
Perfect.
And I think Nick can help you on these if there's specific cases you're wondering what to do with. He can look at it.
And again, please, if you can, if you have a list of cases you're not sure about, it would be fantastic and awesome if you can send us those by July 15th, just so that we have enough time to review them all for all contractors.
All right, any other questions? Okay, we know it's a busy time of year, so thank you so much for everything. So what we'll do is I've been tracking attendance, and after everybody hangs up, I'll go through the list and see who I'm missing. But anybody who's already written their thing on the chat, you can go ahead and hang up, and then we'll go through the attendance one more time after all the beeps.
Thank you.
Yes.